And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye!
Have a wonderful evening.
All right.
So, life kind of kicks me in the ass.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering why we uploaded an entire 3 weeks later, that's why.
It might have been longer than 3 weeks, honestly. I can't remember.
Yeah, probably at this rate. So when we left off, the playoffs had just started and we were making our predictions. Uh, all of us are wrong, just right out the gate.
We're,
Uh,
we all were wrong. Everybody's wrong. Nobody was right.
not about a single part of it either. Like
Yeah.
if I recall, like
Let's
Houston didn't even make the World Series. Though I think the way we had it scored out, that means that the person who has to play home run derby is me, right?
uh I think we were tied before like before, and like if Houston made it would have decided
Yeah,
if we stayed tied. And then if that
and
was
they
and then if that ended up not happening, whoever got the most right in their postseason predictions would then, between the two of us, would then, have to play home run derby. We tied in that too, so I don't I don't fucking know.
what are the fucking odds?
I think that just means we both have to play it now.
You're right. Yeah, we'll just have to record we'll just have to record that next episode or so. In the meantime, though, because I don't feel like doing that after getting back home from the bank, uh, we've got an entire postseason to talk about
We've got an entire
since
postseason.
we missed a lot.
We got an entire postseason, and then if we have time, maybe do what we did. Maybe do what we did last year, and
Make predictions for
make
next year.
like make predictions for where free agents will go during the off season. Cause it's that time, boys. It's that time. Nothing's really gonna happen in like a month, but like it's that time.
Yeah. No, nonetheless, people are already pretty excited for postseason shifts. This is the first time in a while that I've seen Cardinals fans on Twitter be optimistic.
I mean, to be fair, what they really needed was solid pitching, and there are a lot of solid pitchers in free agency this year.
That is true. It's a very prime market for the Cardinals, and it is John Mozeliak and Ollie Marmol's chance to prove that last year was a fluke.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure for them to make the right calls now. Uh, I think that the Cardinals will definitely be better either way. Like, whether or not they become a playoff contender team next year, I don't know. Fuck if I know. I thought that they would win the World Series this year. So, yeah. But I do know that they will be a better team. They will perform better next year. I think that much is effectively guaranteed with, like, the bad position that they're already in.
Yeah.
Uh, so, going over the postseason in general, the first wild card series to talk about is the Rangers and Rays. No notes on this one really. The Rays fucking dropped the ball super hard. There was a brief. There were some streams where I was there for, where Snoot and I commentated
Yeah.
on some of the wild card series.
I tried doing postseason baseball, but then I realized if I'm by myself doing it, it's not as fun.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't be there for 3 weeks in a row.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I
But
stopped trying to do the rest of the postseason. I was gonna try to do the World Series, but then it again hit me. I was like, oh wow, I'm streaming and I'm bored. I don't want to do this anymore.
yeah, well, yeah. I wish I could have been there. I don't remember what was going on at the time.
Yeah, it's all right. But yeah. Uh,
In any
Rangers,
case, yeah. The Rangers destroyed the Rays. It
Rangers,
was not even a fight.
not even a chance. Didn't even have a chance, man.
And this is one that we actually had a bit of debate about before we saw Game 1.
Yeah,
Like, we were pretty, I think Snoot was fairly certain that the Rays still had it.
yeah. How foolish I was. I thought,
Evidently they do, evidently they super don't still have it.
yeah, I thought for sure that that their really good pitching and pretty solid lineup would at least get them to the division series, but they didn't even do that.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing for like a rising star like the Rays to get knocked out in the wild card.
For the second
Uh, wha-
year in a row.
Yeah, they've had like a. Don't they have like a much longer streak of losing in the wild card in general?
uh they have a they have a streak of losing in their first round of the playoffs from like cuz like after their World Series run in 2020, in 2021 they made it to the division series automatically cuz they were the 1 seed, and at that time the division series was the 1 seed versus whoever won the wild card game because the wild card series hadn't been established yet that year. And
Yeah.
then
Oh, that was COVID season, wasn't it?
no, 2020 was COVID
Oh,
season. 2021 was like the last year of the old playoff format.
right.
And they were the 1 seed, so they have to face off against the Red Sox, and then the Red Sox uh pipe shit piped them. However the fuck that
Yeah,
saying
that makes
goes.
sense. I get the picture though. The Rays have not had a good run of the postseason in a good while now. Since they're well, it's for about 3 years.
Since 2020, but not a lot of people even count 2020, so even longer than
Yeah.
that.
So, needless to say, that end of the AL wild card was not particularly eventful. On a more eventful note, though, was the Blue Jays versus Twins, where this was another one where there was a whole lot of debate as to between Snoot and I as to how it would go until it happened.
Yeah,
And I kept saying like Vladdy's got it, Vladdy's got it.
he did not have it.
He did not have it.
He did not have it.
Basic The Blue Jays have all the components to be a good team, and for some reason they just make the conscious decision not to be.
I think it's either their manager or their front office which is holding them back, cuz game 2, in like the stroke of genius that it was, when the Twins started having getting runners on base in the 5th inning, rather than keep their starter who was doing really good with runners on base all game long and whatnot, they decided to put in uh they decided to switch to a pitcher who hadn't done well in like a couple of weeks. Guess what happened?
What happened?
Fucking the Twins fucking scored on him and then they lost.
Yeah. and
Like
the
I
Blue Jays simply could not come back.
like I said, the stroke of genius that it was cost them the series.
Jesus, I just looked and it really did because like the second game, the Blue Jays couldn't even score. This is a like first the Mariners, now the Blue Jays. So, I mean, now the Twins. The Blue Jays just have like a nasty penchant for losing to small market teams fucking miserably.
Is Toronto even a big market? Well, I mean, okay, it's probably a bigger market.
It's definitely a bigger market. I mean, it's an AL East team, so that counts for something.
Yeah.
Unlike the National League, there are no AL teams that are like an exception to the rule. There's no Washington, unless you would argue it's the Red Sox, in which maybe, but yeah, uh,
And so yeah, fucking Toronto also got shit piped. You want, but on a more uh agreeable note, we all agreed that this would happen. The only people who thought it wouldn't happen was everybody not in this podcast group. Uh, the Diamondbacks went ahead and fucking punched the lights out for the Brewers. What a
oh
shock!
yeah. That was one hell of a series, honestly, because both times the Brewers got an early lead, and then the D-backs just like pushed it way fucking up. They'd
Yeah,
get a go ahead and they'd score run after run after run with like incredible plays from fucking Carroll and Marte.
yeah. Which basically sums up their entire postseason this year, but we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. But
But
yeah,
we all knew this was gonna happen because, like we've always said, Milwaukee is a wild card team that won a division because it literally couldn't lose it.
yeah. They won because it was literally impossible for them to lose.
It was the same position the Twins are in, but at least the Twins won the wild card while they were at it. That's the farthest the Twins have gotten in the playoffs in a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time in a long time the Twins have made the playoffs.
It's the first time in a bit. I think the last time they made it was either 2020 or 2019, somewhere around those years. But they hadn't won a playoff game, count it game, since like in 18 years before this year.
Yeah. So, in any case, I think that the Twins should be very proud. The Brewers should be very ashamed of themselves.
Back in your corner.
Yeah. It's the one thing that, as a Pirate and Cardinal fan, we can agree on is bullying the Brewers.
Bullying the Brewers. Get in your corner and think about what you've done.
On the bottom half of the NL wild card, you have Miami and Philly, which is the one I didn't really catch.
I feel like I feel like we also all agreed on this one too, that it was
I
gonna
think
be that was
no,
gonna
there was some debate. I think at least one of you thought that the Marlins were gonna win.
it might have been Hilda.
It was probably Hilda.
It was probably not gonna lie.
There's like a straight 50-50 where Hilda says something that either makes the most sense ever or none at all.
Yeah.
It's still fucked up that Hilda's not the one playing Home Run Derby, and it's gonna
Yeah.
have to be both of us.
Yeah, it was Hilda who picked the Marlins.
But yeah, this was another one that just wasn't close. And I mean, who is surprised? Philly made the World Series last year, and they were primed to do it again.
Yeah, they were ready. They were ready to do that shit again.
on the ALCS, to the surprise of no, but well, ALDS rather. Sorry. To the surprise of no one, Houston won. So that's like the one thing we got right is that the American League Division Series, the top half of it was gonna be a meat grinder. The Twins did win a game
They
though.
did, yeah,
The
they
Twin
did put up a bit of a fight, which
The
is,
Astros did not sweep the Twins, which has to be the most embarrassing thing about their performance this season.
yeah. However, on the other end of it, a team who we all thought was gonna go far, uh, once again got shit piped.
Yep, the Orioles. I think Snoot predicted the Orioles. No, it was Hilda that predicted. I think.
It was
One of
Hilda
you
that,
predicted the Orioles. Yeah, the Orioles would win.
yeah, I predicted the Orioles would make it to the World Series and lose to the Dodgers, which we'll get to them later.
I think I made a similar prediction, but was losing to the Braves instead.
Yeah. And then Hilda was like, fuck it, Orioles win.
And
And not a
to be
single
fair,
one of
like
us
we
win.
both we all had like a pretty good case for our idea. Because the thing is, the Orioles were genuinely like performing amazing this season. Like the Orioles are the best AL team right now.
The only thing that would have held them back, which did hold them back, was their starting pitching, because it was ass. Surprisingly, I'm pretty sure, for some reason, they didn't use the one piece that they got to help out their starting pitching, which was Jack Flaherty.
Yo, the One Piece,
The one piece.
the One Piece. Jack Flaherty, isn't that a wasn't that it wasn't that guy was in the Cardinals, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
There's been a lot of former Cardinals in the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
Like you've got Montgomery, you've got Pham, not
yeah.
Pham. You you've got shit. What was it? Well, I mean, you had Scherzer and Pham, so there's a notable amount of former Mets too.
Yeah.
But
Technically
you had
DeGrom, but he didn't play.
yeah. I wish I could remember all the players off the top of my head, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. There were a lot of former Pirates here in the postseason too. You had actually wait, were there any?
We could always take a look once we're done.
I don't actually don't think there were. Like actually, I don't think any former Pirates, at least ones that I would know of, were in the postseason this year. That's strange. This is like I think the first year where that probably has. Oh wait, no, Josh Bell, because he was on the Pirates. He was on the Marlins. I forgot the Marlins were a team for a second. Oh wait, no. Also Tyler Glass now from the Rays. I forgot
Oh
Tyler
yeah,
Glass
there's
now was a person.
fucking oh
Adam
I
Frazier.
f- I f- I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot that Adolis Garcia and Zach Gallen both used to be Cardinals.
was that Gallon I knew, but I didn't know Adolis Garcia. What?
Yeah, apparently they were traded back in
I know
fucking
I know Gallon.
well,
He was.
Gallen was traded in 2017 and Garcia was DFA'd in 2019.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I knew Gallon was traded to Miami with Sandy Alcantara to the Marlins, but then was traded to the D-backs for fucking Jazz Chisholm.
I'm sorry, that's such a silly name.
Yeah. It is, but I love it so much. I think it's one of the best baseball names ever.
It is a pretty good one.
Uh,
So yeah, uh, where were we? I think we were talking about Rangers and Orioles.
yeah, Rangers swept, which to
It
surprise
was
to
it was fairly close outside of the game numbers. The Rangers came out on top, but other than Game 3,
yeah, it was a little closer than which is something Orioles fans can have against the Rays at least.
yeah, I mean they have a lot against the Rays because the Orioles won the division and the Rays didn't.
Yeah, the Orioles won the division. They were closer in their playoff defeats, even though they still got swept. Uh, Speaking of getting swept, the Dodgers.
By the fucking Diamondbacks. The Dodgers have to be embarrassed about this because this is like,
This is the second year in a row they've got shit piped by their lesser, by their lesser like cousin in their division.
yeah, like these, like that's so like the Padres and the D-backs are both teams that the Dodgers are used to beating in the normal season.
Yeah, and the funny thing,
Like these teams go up against the Dodgers and they're like, well, shit, we just have to do our best then.
yeah, and then the funny thing is, last year the Dodgers at least got a win against the Padres. They didn't do shit against the Diamondbacks.
They didn't even have a rally goose.
Yeah, it wasn't even a goose that did it. It was just Corbin Carroll, Gatel Marte, and Gabriel Moreno, and literally everybody else on that team. Well, okay, to be fair to the Dodgers, they did have a pretty beat up starting rotation. Their starting rotation was literally Clayton Kershaw, Bobby Miller, and then like a few strings of duct tape and bubble gum wrappers. But the
Yeah, that sounds
offense,
about right.
but the offense, I thought even then I thought the offense would carry them because you have Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman who are looking like the greatest dynamic duo in all of baseball history, and they didn't do shit.
Isn't Mookie Betts considered one of the best players in the game right now?
Definitely one of the best corner outfielders. Yeah, yeah, I'd say one of the best players right now. He's considered MVP favorite, which he's not winning because there's a
Oh
guy
yeah.
by the name of Ronald Acuna Jr. Speaking of that, let's talk about the Braves.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the Braves, the team that I said would win the World Series. Last postseason, they got fucking humiliated by the Phillies in the division series. Lo and behold, that happened again.
It happened again. I said it would happen again too. You guys were,
I didn't fucking believe you.
you were,
Because I was like,
you
I
were
don't
like,
know, the numbers don't lie, and it
numbers
turns
don't,
out they were.
the numbers don't lie. I mean, surely they can't do it again. Here we are. Here we are. The exact same way too. Uh just just for the record, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at your expense. I'm laughing at Atlanta's expense. Cause,
No, I know.
cause
I'm also laughing at the expense of Ronald Acuna Jr.
oh my, talking talking about MVP candidates not doing shit in the postseason. What happened to Ronald Acuna Jr.?
That is a great fucking question because he was like genuinely pretty good during the season.
I don't understand.
After that one, after fucking what's his name? After Oviedo,
Johan Oviedo,
called him
like,
soft. It like ended him. It seems like.
yeah, it like basically that was basically the that was basically the kill switch for Ronald Acuna's production for the rest of the season. So, Philly, you're welcome. It wasn't even just him. Everyone else faltered too. Like nobody did anything. Our Orlando Arcia wouldn't shut up for like 5 minutes.
Who's that? Who's that again?
He's uh he's Atlanta's new shortstop since Dansby Swanson went to Chicago last
Uh,
offseason. And he wouldn't shut his mouth at all. Like he made fun of Phillies fans whenever Bryce Harper flew out. He was like, "Attaboy, Bryce," and then
oh yeah, I remember that.
immediately afterward, Bryce Harper hit two fucking homers off his pitchers.
Yeah, that was that. He kind of had that coming.
Like, dude, like even his own teammates looked at him and were like, "Dude, shut up."
I've never really known. Well, Braves fans are definitely like.
Oh, and
Well, the
oh my,
opposite is true for Braves fans. I've never known Braves players to be that contentious.
dude, don't even get me started about the Braves fans. Like all they did after that series was complain, complain, complain. Like as if the league was out to get them. Like, oh, the getting the 1 seed is actually a bad thing because they get rest time and blah 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 blah. And it's like the 2021 Braves, who won the World Series, by the way, had rest time, and look what they did. You want to know how much more rest time this year's Braves got than like the year before's Braves? One
So what
day.
was that?
Oh,
My internet died for a second.
no, it was on
Oh,
my end. But you want to know how many more rest days the 20 or the 20 like this year's Braves did than what the Braves had when they won the World Series in 2021? One
how
day.
many?
One day. They had one more day of rest. And it's like, oh well, they should reseed the playoffs so that instead of playing the Phillies, they'd have to play the Diamondbacks would have won in 5. Don't even kid yourselves. Diamondbacks
Yeah,
would have
no.
won in 5.
This season? No.
Like the
Like,
break
this is not the year for the Braves to be talking shit.
like the Braves just got outmatched in every conceivable fashion. And the players and the coaches know it. The only people who don't are the fans.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm back on my hating Atlanta fucking character arc. Fuck you. You're all a bunch of soft little crybabies.
Yeah, I remember the Astros were like no different during the ALCS, which we can talk about now.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The Everything is Bigger in Texas
The
series,
Everything is Bigger in Texas series, even the comebacks.
including but not limited to the fucking humiliation of the Astros. This has already been like a pretty abysmal year for a team that won its division.
For a team that won its division, won the World Series the previous year.
Because it feels like every single component of the Astros has kind of fallen off a little bit. Like, this was like Valdez's shittiest year in a while.
Yeah, Valdez was off. They brought Verlander back, but at what cost?
Did he really do anything?
Not really. He had
Like,
a
he didn't do anything in the Mets either.
he didn't do anything on the Mets, and
He should have just straight up retired after winning the World Series.
he
Like
didn't.
how everybody says that Wayno should have retired last year.
Verlander should have retired last year, and I think he, as far as I
Yeah,
know,
Verlander should have done that.
he's coming back for another year next year too.
God?
So I don't know. I think I think he might be a little worse next year,
He
which
might be a little washed up.
like and if Valdez continues the stretch that he's had this year, I think the only I think the Astros might need to get a couple of pitchers, honestly. I think the Astros might have to go into free agency and grab a couple of starting pitchers. But it would be hilarious if they didn't and they were like, we believe in our pitchers." The only one you really should believe in is Christian Javier, and even he is kind of just like okay.
Yeah, the Astros have definitely the Astro lineup is definitely decaying, and they better make postseason moves if they want to have any momentum next year, in my opinion. Because I think if they keep things as they are, if they pull a fucking St. Louis and do nothing, hoping that they'll win like Luigi, it's not gonna work out for them.
It's
It
not
didn't work out for St. Louis.
didn't work out for St. Louis. Although to be fair, the Astros bat like offense is a little more stacked than
Oh yeah,
St.
for sure.
Louis's.
I mean, it doesn't help that like half of the Cardinals' offense retired. Like half of the important Cardinals' offense.
You had Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina. They retired, and then all of a sudden, everybody else forgot how to hit a baseball.
Yeah, it was a little embarrassing how Goldie and Arenado played this year. Goldie did better though.
Yeah. Goldie was
Sorry.
like, I want an MVP. Now I'm gonna try to go even further beyond, and then he sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. On the NLCS side, you had Arizona and the Phillies, and this one was actually close.
Like it was unbelievably close, which was
Which is
which
really funny because game two, the Phillies won 10-0.
yeah, like the first two games, the Phillies fucking shit piped the Diamondbacks, and it was like, holy shit. Uh,
And it seemed for a good while that the Phillies were gonna take that series
like
home.
even when
Because the D-backs
Arizona,
got a single win, and then Philly went right back at it, or so they thought.
like Arizona tied the series back up, and then Philly got the final game in Arizona, and we were like, okay, well, shit, it's over. They're going back to Philly. Surely the Diamondbacks aren't gonna win in Philly, and it was like, well damn. Like,
And there it was.
yeah, like I remember saying, like, whenever it was Game 5 of the NLCS, I remember saying the Diamondbacks need to win this game because if they win this game, they actually have a chance to make it to the World Series. I have a feeling they can win one in Philly. They're definitely not winning two. And lo and behold, they won both games in Philly.
But
Shut.
that's definitely got to have Philly fans in for a shock because it used to be, well, because I remember last year
It was
everybody was talking about how the Phillies never lose at Citizens Bank.
and that was looking like it was going to be the case this year too, but then they lost twice in in the games where it mattered. Although to be fair, uh there were a few guys on the Phillies who were getting a little cocky. Like someone, I don't remember who, they were like, "Oh yeah, and then whenever we clinch a World Series berth in Arizona. We're gonna jump into their pool, and then Arizona was like, no, not happening. You wanna you wanna clinch? You gotta go back to Philly, fuckers. And then they went back to Philly, and they were like,
It did not go so well for them.
yeah. It was, and honestly, it led to probably one of the better World Series matchups we've seen in a while. It was the first
Oh
World.
yeah,
It was the first World Series in a while where either Houston or LA didn't make it.
honestly, I'm so glad for it, even though we both lost the fucking bet.
Yeah, yeah, like we like we lost our bets, but like in turn we had one of the best postseasons in recent memory, I feel like. And the
Oh
World
yeah,
and the World Series was definitely shaping up to be a pretty good one because first game in Arlington, Arizona holds the lead for most of the game, and then Texas comes back.
with a single go-ahead run,
Yeah, they go into extras. Adolis
and that
Garcia comes
was
in.
and that was what, in the ninth?
It was in the ninth. It was in the bottom of the
Wait, it was
ninth.
sorry, it was actually in the 11th.
Well, the go-ahead run was, but
Oh
they
yeah,
tied it in the bottom of the ninth with a Corey Seager home run,
yeah, and then the go-ahead
and then
happened
the
all
go-ahead
the way into
happened.
the 11th.
The go-ahead
So that was
happened,
like
and
textbook World Series game right there.
yeah, that was probably one of the greatest game ones I've ever seen. And the person who did that was Adolis Garcia, who at that point, after that game, uh, now officially has the record for most postseason RBIs in a single postseason. The person who had it before him, David Freese from the 2011 Cardinals,
Who's got it now?
Adolis Garcia.
Oh yeah, yeah, that checks out. Luis Garcia's had a hell of a year, and it's fucked up to think he used to be in the Royals. I remember when we first saw him, you thought he was shit because of the fact that he was a Royals player. And to be fair, he was a Royals player.
He was a Royals player. He was on the Royals.
Now, one thing I do gotta say is like this is definitely like a much this was definitely a much more exciting postseason than last year. And I think that both the Phillies and Arizona, even though neither of them won the World Series, have every right to be proud of themselves.
Yeah,
I think they definitely have the keys to make the playoffs next year, too.
yeah,
I mean, for Philly, it's kind of a foregone conclusion at this point. They seem to be here to stay.
yeah. I don't think they're going anywhere. Well, I mean, they might lose Aaron Nola to free agency, but they do have some solid pitchers in their farm system, and they could just either re-sign Nola or bring in bring in someone else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm running out of time here because I have an appointment in about 2 minutes, but before we head off, we should decide a little bit more about, the penalty game that we have to play.
Yeah,
Home run derby, doing it until we beat it is going to take us forever. So we've got to decide something. So how about next, when we play it,
yeah,
how about we play it for like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, that sort of time frame?
something like that. We could
And
stream it too.
hell yeah, we
It,
could make a wager out of who gets the furthest in that time.
yeah,
And if that's even, then well, it's even.
yeah, whatever.
Uh, we can come up with the wager later.
Yeah,
But yeah. I would love to talk more about baseball, but I'm out of time, and so I'll have to see the rest of you guys either next week or the next 3 weeks, depending on what my life feels like.
Yeah, depending on what happens. Maybe Hilda will eventually come back.
Yeah, maybe.
But with that being said, congrats to Texas Rangers. Get on the ball with SCS baseball, and we'll see you eventually. Bye.
Stay tuned for our next year's predictions.